it's not happening.
Golf is all about having fun and challenging yourself. So that's why I like the sport. So you can take anything you love. For me, it's gonna always be a lot of sporting and hanging out with people type of things. That's just what I've liked doing my whole life. For you guys, take whatever it is that you're already passionate about, involve God with it, involve a Bible study, involve prayer, and you're doing it. You're actually doing it.
You know, I've done something at the gym, and I probably started about 15 years ago, Justin, where I'm in the gym a lot, and a lot of kids will, just kind of know who I am just by what I've done in the gym. And as I do this, I've allowed myself to open myself up to some of the young guys who are in the gym, and they're trying to develop a body that they might want to present either on a stage as bodybuilding or lifting a weight as powerlifting. And I've opened myself up to them because I did both. I was more successful in bodybuilding than powerlifting, but I started there. But I tell the young guys that I'll answer any of their questions honestly, even about anabolic steroids, drugs that are PEDs, performance enhancing. I'll answer all their questions, but they might not want to know my answers. And so I did this 3 weeks ago, and in this conversation, it came up with some of the things that I'm dealing with through my use of anabolic steroids, growth hormone, and also blood doping. I've got a little bit of hardening the arteries that I'm dealing with now, and I also have stage 2 kidney disease from anabolics because you're running everything through your body. So I tell the kids I'm the example on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I'm the has-been that can tell you don't do these things because other things will happen. But I do tell them to enjoy it because I think that's where we start.
Yeah.
We start these hobbies. So I found also as being honest with these young guys in the gym where it's something I love, I'm able to find ministry, and the most important thing I'm able to do is find healing in what I've done. Because sometimes when you talk to people about things that you've done that you've made a mistake in, you can see it make a difference in some people's lives.
Yes.
Then maybe they're like, man, I'm so glad you told me that because maybe I won't go that direction. I've just had that experience with a young man who did his first show, and I go, how was the experience? He goes, I don't think I'll ever do it again because he ended up with some health issues from it. And but so for me, I've found some healing in it.
Yeah.
That I'm able to be honest and open about something I did, and maybe it's helping other people. So you can use it as a ministry.
God doesn't want to hide like the flaws and the stuff we go through. He doesn't want to hide it. He wants to use it. So a big part of our walks with God is accepting where you failed, accepting the mistakes you made in life, and you being able to walk freely. You've been set free of those mistakes.
Yes.
So now you can tell other people, because don't think you're alone. There's someone out there right now making the mistake that you already made.
Yes, and in athletics, you and I both share with that, that sometimes could be a big stumbling ground for people, because everybody thinks there's a shortcut.
Yeah.
Hard work, nothing shortcuts hard work, determination, and discipline. As you talk about that, there's a verse in the Bible in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3, and I think it's through 4, it says that God will basically comfort us in all of our afflictions, all of our trials, all of our problems, so we can comfort others.
Yes.
So he wants to use each and every one of us out there in somebody else's life. And I think you find joy and excitement about that when you see it, or it happens.
Yeah, it's what keeps us going.
It is. So we got some exciting things today, and it's going to come on our...
It's the What's New segment, so we don't have the guest quite here to ask what's new, but we know this, you guys. We're not surprised. The What's New is what's going on at our very own church.
Yes.
VBF has some exciting bunch of new stuff. It feels like it's like New Year type of information, but we're not even at the New Year yet. To think that we're already moving on things.
You know
like
what?
this.
I just spoke to Pastor Ron. You know what's cool? We're announcing it. Our lunch break audience is being the first one to hear this.
Yeah, I'm realizing this. That's so cool. You did get an exclusive. I don't know how you managed to make this happen.
Well, what it is, so this is our 50th episode. Isn't this amazing? I want to thank Seth and Mike Harvey for just being the tech group. Come on out here. Can you both come out here?
I think we can put them on.
Oh, right there. There
Look,
they are.
They have their own camera now.
Right there.
Yes, I love that.
They got their own camera.
Yeah, you guys.
They control it, too.
Yeah, they're going to. I think you'll start seeing more of them more often.
Well, you should, because both Seth, and I always tell Seth this, he is talented.
Yes.
I mean, there isn't anybody more talented than Seth on our staff. He knows how to work all this, and he knows how to be in front of this. And Mike Harvey's the same thing. Mike Harvey, I think, has a podcast that he does, Training in Business, and a few other things. So they lack the microphone. I see that. We have power over them still.
Yes. Well, wait till next week.
I love it. So our guests today are coming to you via video.
Yes.
And what we've got on store for you, and might run a little bit longer, and so you can go back and rewatch. I think that's the power of this.
Yes.
Is you go back and rewatch.
Episode. We can go a little long.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. So as we're here, we have an exclusive from Pastor Ron and Josh Vietti. They filmed it yesterday, and this is a fresh drop.
Yes.
From VBF News on what's going to start happening at our church as far as our pulpit ministry. So we're going to go ahead and play that, and we'll stop it, and the guys are going to kind of do a picture-in-a-picture. But we're going to play that, and we'll stop it at certain points, and we'll come back on J2, and I'll discuss it.
Yeah, let's check it out.
So are the audience hearing it, or should we talk over it?
Comment if you guys are hearing it. Guys, can you hear us? We'll make sure you guys are getting this info. It's too good to miss out on. Yeah, that's coming through. We'll make sure you guys are getting this info. It's too good to miss out on.
Incline, or you're on the recline.
Yeah, that's coming through.
And I've told business.
We'll make sure you guys are getting this info. It's too good to miss out on.
Or you're on the recline. Stay on the incline. And I've told business.
We'll make sure you guys are getting this info. It's too good to miss out on.
Or you're on the recline. Stay on the incline. And I've told business.
We'll make sure you guys are getting this info. It's too good to miss out on.
Or you're on the recline. Stay on the incline. And
Okay, we're good. Okay, so we got.
So you guys are going to fix that, though, right? Right,
Okay, they're gonna switch the cable out for you guys. I don't want to break that news without you guys seeing the video.
So we're
we can-
freestyling it.
That's the only way.
What happened?
There's not going to be any video for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're
gonna-
fine.
We're going to freestyle it for a few minutes.
So we'll jump ahead. Yes, I don't think.
So
that's
we're
the
going to
move.
drop into the end of our show.
Yes.
Because this is our 50th, and there again, we're going to end up with a year of shows out there, which you can rewatch
Yes.
on our Lunch Break Facebook page. And we're going to start doing some crazy stuff.
Yes.
You know, the great things about having young people that are part of our creative directors and things like that. Well, let me finish this thought idea.
Yes.
Is that they kind of tell us what to do. Now, part of our creative directors are my two daughters.
Yes.
And my daughters enjoy telling me what to do. And so they're giving us some ideas about we're going to start bringing
my two daughters.
Yes.
and
Yes.
videos.
We're gonna be hitting TikTok, so we're gonna
Yes.
need you guys' help with that one.
Yes, we're going to be doing that, and J2 and I are going to be learning some new skills, but that's a new video adventure for us, and going out there and gathering some new guests and that kind of thing. So, you guys want to go to the video? Or you want to talk? Or you want to finish our thought?
I want to shout out Seth for getting that. You guys don't understand. There was a serious debacle, and Seth. This is the second time today he's pulled a wire and switched a wire, and it's been correct. And Mike Harvey sitting there guiding him through it. It's been real cool. It's been real good. So
Otherwise, it's just you and I are just talking.
yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth. So I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement, so we can go with the show.
Talking.
as normal. Yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth. So I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement, so we can go with the show. Yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth. So I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement, so we can go with the show. Yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth. So I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement, so we can go with the show. Yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth. So I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement, so we can go with the show. Yeah. So once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth, so I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement so we can go with the show. Yeah, so once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth, so I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement so we can go with the show. Yeah, so once again, they've fixed a disaster, Mike and Seth, so I want to shout them out. But now we can go to that special announcement so we can go with the show. Yeah, so once again, they've fixed a disaster.
Need something new in our church, whereas we've been on recline for a while.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're talking about.
COVID was a huge distraction, I guess you could say, and we had to do what we had to do to keep things going during COVID. But now we're kind of out of that season, coming out of that season.
Yep.
And people are starting to feel comfortable to come back to church. And, you know, it's the fall season, which is also a very big coming back to church time. And so, you know, we have some ideas. You had an idea to kind of change things up, to mix things up a little bit for everyone, because there's all kinds of different people that come to our church, different ages, different mentalities,
different culture backgrounds, everything.
We have a very diverse church. And
very diverse.
I think the challenge is sometimes how can we serve each and every individual, right? On a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night. And it's not easy to do.
What was it, the old milk commercial that said, maybe it wasn't milk, but it's something for everybody?
Yeah.
And, you know, like today, the Walmart Supercenters, a one-stop shop, you know. And yeah, I came up with an idea some time ago. The people don't know that we built VBF on verse-by-verse Bible studies. Years ago, and you remember this, our Wednesday night service was bigger than Sunday. Bigger than Sunday. We had a packed house with 300 or 400 or 500 in the overflow.
Right.
And it was crazy. And so, as you said, different people, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, sure.
I know some older people really like the verse by verse. Some younger people might too. But others like more what you do. And you've always told me that you love building stuff around videos. You love teaching through film.
I like taking a topic or a theme and building around it, whether it's video, whether it's worship music, whatever it is that supports that theme and topic. And so that's kind of my strong point, and your strong point is verse by verse. And so share with them what your idea is.
I want to comment on yours first. I was watching the other day, and you had video and little encouraging exhortation video, and the time went so fast. It was like really cool, almost like some of these shows on TV where you got a segment and they go to another segment, and they keep your attention really well.
Well, I have very low attention span, so I think for myself, I like to have something.
We both had ADD, so
right.
But we can't let our ADD or our ADHD. We can't let it affect the congregation.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, because I found yours very intriguing. Time went fast, and because of the attention deficit, it's really cool to go from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Video is really cool. So I really like your format. Mine's more verse by verse. I mean, really verse by verse. Like, it's nothing for me to do 3 verses on a Sunday and just tear things apart, Greek words on and on. So, I mean, the thought that I had, and I think we'll probably try it, you seem to be in agreement with it, but for the next rest of the year and then some maybe, we're going to experiment with something. And that is, I'll be teaching second service every Sunday. Well, every Sunday I go 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. That's my rhythm, 3 on, 1 off, because I travel and speak on the one I'm off. So what I would be doing in second service is straight Bible study. I haven't decided yet what book we're going to go through. More than likely it'll be 1st or 2nd Corinthians starting out. And I'm so in depth that it will be in the book. If we're in one book of Corinthians, we'll be in it for a year probably. And then you would take 1st and 3rd service. And so the people would have an option. They'd go, hey, I want to go verse by verse today. That's always second service. Or I want to go see Josh teaching through video and all these crazy good venues. That's 1st and 3rd. Or you could come to 2. And all the older people have been telling me, we want the verse by verse by verse. And what I want to do is I want to refocus VBF. I want us to have a whole new paradigm shift here. I would love to see people getting out of their car at the second service with Bibles under their arms and an ink pen. We're still gonna put the verses on the screen, but I love the idea of bringing our Bible to church, getting it out. We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 today, and taking an ink pen, marking it up. And then you can stay for Josh's or go to Josh's. You don't have to go to ours per se. A lot of people aren't going to want to go that deep in the Bible study. So now they have Josh's service and whoever else you use, because you're very creative. And so I think what we do is we end up having something for everybody.
Yeah.
I know I'd like to go to church like that, where I had a choice.
Yeah.
And we're going to live stream all the services. They'll all be live streamed, so you can see whatever.
Yeah, so what I'll be doing is more practical life application. How do you apply the things of the Bible, the truths of the Bible? How do you apply those to your life on a daily basis? How do you actually live that out? And so I'll be focusing on that, and then maybe bringing some video and maybe allowing other people to meet some of the people that are involved in the church, and it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of excitement.
Yours is more the new modern way, I think, of teaching. I think it's something that's really on the cutting edge. I'm more the old-fashioned way, I guess, that might come back and be very on the cutting edge again.
Yeah, I think they're both.
'Cause I think
they're
that,
both
yeah,
great.
they're both needed.
Yeah, they really are. And there are some days where I want to be deeper, and I would want to get into the deeper Bible study. There are some days where I'm like, I'm going to go to church and just catch I'm going to catch the theme of today, of what is going on. And then there might be days where I might want both. I might come and say, hey, I'm going to do the Bible study at second service. I'm going to stick around for third, and I'm going to get that as well. And so it just depends on what people want,
Well,
what
I
they
think
need.
I've struggled with topical for years, and I haven't kept it a secret. I don't like doing topical. I just don't enjoy it. And it's taken me several years now to really come to the conclusion I need to go back with my DNA, spiritual DNA, and it is teaching. I thrive on that. But I exhort too. My nature is exhortive, so I will teach a little bit and then get out there and probably walk all around and really exhort and go back. And there's going to be times, I'm sure, that I'm going to sit through the first service, usually always, and I might say, you know, Josh said something in the first service today or played a video that we got to play. It moves right along with what we're doing here right now. And it's really cool because I know you're this way and I'm this way, of gleaning off of one another what was said in the earlier service or whatever. So I think it's going to be creative. And I think it's going to challenge the people.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be really good. And then Wednesday nights, we're going to be giving some of our younger pastors some opportunities to speak and kind of hone.
So J2, so audience, you heard it firsthand on the show that VBF is going to make a chain. I think it's pretty exciting myself. Actually,
the options.
The
is
options.
what's cool.
And one of the things that as we're out there, and we're doing this, bringing it to you, kind of lunch break style.
Yeah.
One of the great things that I heard. Now, guys, I didn't preview this more than just listen to it once and then hear it again.
Yeah.
But what really struck me was, did you hear Pastor Ron say, "This is my strength"?
Yes. So now we have both our elite pastors working in their strengths.
But if you're out there and you have a strength, now what's amazing is, and this is me because I've been at VBF over 30 years. I've seen Pastor Ron do an amazing job, topical, exhortation, teaching, just all the forms. But he says, I have a preference.
Yeah.
So you may be out there with a strong lead one way or the other. One of the things that I always say, and I tell people all the time, that I like to do this more than I like to be on a stage, giving the message. I know, J2, you're fantastic at that. You've got a great pulpit gift. But I know my strength. I know my strength is in one-on-one. I can exhort people, conversational. And so I fall back to that. One of the great things here at Northwest, and if you're coming to our Northwest campus, I'm not standing on stage a lot. Tom Hollenbeck is doing the worship. You have Darren Tripp doing the announcements and baby dedications. And you're seeing Kyle Lawson. You're seeing Adrian Monet. But I'm just saying, you're seeing these younger faces because I'm in the lobby. I'm sitting down talking to somebody. I said, how you doing? Mm-hmm. And I don't have to run up because I've done that for 25 years where I'll run up and do announcements.
Yes.
I'll come up and do baby dedications where I may not have to be able to catch up on a conversation, but that's my strong point. And I think when we all find that strong point, I think we're a healthier body of Christ.
Yes, and Pastor Ron has forever dominated breaking down
the Word,
the Bible. Like that's how we all have been raised through him.
Yes,
and then to see Josh be able to have more freedom because he knows his dad's coming in that second service with all that in-depth word, so Josh can get free with all that creative mindset that he has. Yeah. With the videos, with the life applications. So we're getting the best of both worlds now. It's pretty dope.
So for VBF, if you're out there, I think it's a point in our church ministry when you have two senior pastors speaking on the same day.
And on the same term, and I like, honestly, Satan was trying to get between this big deal, and look at them about to unleash something new for our church.
Yes.
And I pray that you guys are praying for our pastors, because they're going to get attacked trying to do this new thing and moving forward and staying in the incline. They're going to get hit.
I think that's important, because there again, as we know, trying something new, even like today, we're getting hit with sound problems and things like that.
The enemy's real.
But it's worth the opportunity to find a new vein. There again, as I'm close to both Josh and Pastor Ron, I mean, they're working together to bring about something that's going to be a blessing to the people, our audience, and others, because
and later generations. This is bigger than right now.
Because you can see a generational thing also, and so it's one of the things Pastor Ron's saying is, hey, you might be able to come to second and stick for third, or come to first and stay for second, and you get two different styles, and you might receive something a little different or a little different way. So I get excited about this stuff. So you ready to go back to the...
Yeah.
I think they've got something new also that they're going to say next. So let's go back.
In their gifts, but also, don't think that you're not going to get as much from those guys. I think that one of the cool things about VBF is we allow these young leaders to come in and they give it their all. They give it everything that they've got, and they come in and they'll teach something from a perspective that's a little bit different. And I think that opens our minds and hearts to seeing how God works with people differently. And so we have younger pastors, we have older pastors, and we're gonna have a mix. We're gonna have a mix of these guys.
Strategic.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're going to a church that has a vision.
Yeah.
If you want verse by verse and tearing the Bible apart with Greek words, a little exhortation mixed in, you go to our service. If you want a topical that they frame video around everything else. And then on Wednesday night, we have a purpose. We're taking these young men up that are going to be they're already good, and they'll just get better. I've often told our young men, I'm buying into your stock. I'm investing in you while your stock's low, because I know it's going to be extremely valuable someday. Well, our guys, it's already valuable.
Yeah.
These guys aren't novices.
Right.
These young men we're putting up, they're already pretty seasoned.
Yeah. Well, and we also have some of the older pastors that are seasoned that are going to be speaking on Wednesday nights and kind of trickling in as well, because we want to make sure that everyone that comes to VBF has an opportunity to connect, right?
Yes.
That's the big thing. Connect with the Word first, with God, but then also with our staff, with the pastors and the leaders.
And then we have Doug Lohman from Vegas, still going to keep his slot. Doug will be here once a month, and that's the Sunday I take off to travel to Vegas to spend time over there.
For so long, the weight has been purely on you and I, mostly on you, and then now it's becoming both of us. But what's cool is we're developing a team of teachers, of pastors, of exhorters, of encouragers. I mean, we're called VBF Encourage, right?
Well,
for a reason.
Team preaching's been the thing for the last few years, and I think it's only going to get more popular.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to have to listen to me all the time. And so I think it's really cool that people that come to VBF now, on Wednesday night, you might get Justin Greer, or you might get Tom Hollenbeck, or one of the older guys, or Hector or Tom Touchstone.
Yeah, Pastor Hector.
And then on Sunday, you have a choice between me and you. They might want to even come and say, come to the early service, I'm going to stay over for the Bible teaching, if you like that much church. But, so I think it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to get into it.
It'll be really exciting, yeah. And, it's one of those things where we're not afraid to try new things to see what happens. And if it doesn't work, people hate it, and they're outside with signs.
Rick Warren once said something, Josh, that really stuck in my mind. He said, I want people that go to his church to know, or to my church, he said to them, he said that we're going to try about 10 new things every year, and we fully expect 6 or 7 of them to fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
We expect that.
Yeah.
But how are you going to, get into new things and set a new trend and all those things if you don't try?
Well, that's always been my philosophy, is I always try new things, because you never know, like you said, what's going to work and what's going to stick and what's going to help us serve the congregation better.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do.
We're serving these people.
Yeah, definitely.
And so can't wait. We're going to start it, I think, October 31st on Halloween.
Yep. Which is going to be a fun day also. So make sure you bring your kids, let them dress up. There are some rules, be tasteful, but we're going to have contests for the family that dresses up the best, gift cards. It's going to be a really fun, festive day. There's going to be bounce houses.
Pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin
Kids
patch?
are going to go with free pumpkins.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
But yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff that day. So you want to come on October 31st.
Yes.
It's going to be a good day to be there.
I agree. Well, I'm excited. Let's get the show on the road.
Let's do it.
Let's do it and see what happens.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Okay.
That's awesome, you guys. So much good info.
Isn't it an opportunity? I love what Pastor said. There again, Justin, I love hearing you on Wednesday night. And to be honest, really, I love to hear Tom Hollenbeck. I mean, I love that he's
can't
including
wait
those,
for
and I
Tom to
love
start
for Hector.
dominating.
But honestly, and this is just me, and I'm going to be honest with our audience. For me to get up there nowadays doesn't do anything for me. And I do know that some people come up and say, "Oh, Pastor Tom, when you said that, it was cool." But I love to see, Justin, you develop the gifts that God's given you, because He's given you so many.
Praise the Lord.
And just even Tom Hollenbeck, we get to hear him over here at the Northwest campus, but to get him up on stage, because you have to realize this, and there again, as us that are older, that there is a generation coming up that needs to be heard, because there's a different communication style. So, even if, you and Tom are coming up, then Hector and I are coming up, you guys are the new, we're the old. But at one point, the old's got to fade away. Not that I'm going anywhere. I keep telling people that. They're like, "What are you going to do, Pastor Tom?" My kids are like, "You're not dying, Dad." No, I'm just not thinking like I am, but I will start to just back away. And I think that's like the little scripture bracelet that I wear here, John 3:30. John the Baptist said, "I must decrease so Jesus increases."
Yes.
And I'm just saying, as I see my role decreasing, I see others increasing.
Yeah, it's awesome. For one, it's awesome. Pastor is always not only on camera, but he's always stood behind us young pastors.
Yes.
He's taught us a lot. I'm excited for the Wednesday team too, because I know Tom Hollenbeck, I've listened to him preach almost just as much as Pastor, because I started as a junior high leader.
Yes.
And I was over serving. I shouldn't have been serving as much as I was probably, but I was spending every service in there because I love the kids. So Tom is literally, we're close in age, but Tom walked me through the Bible a lot coming up. Like, I learned so much from Tom Hollenbeck. So I'm going to put him on blast. He's always said, "Oh, I don't think I'm teaching. I'm going to stay worship." I'm like, "Tom, you're going to be teaching. You're teaching." He's like, No, I'm worship." And he came to me a couple weeks back and go, "I think God's telling me I'm supposed to start teaching." I go, "Duh, like you've been teaching your whole life, bro."
The Bible says that God will move us and move our audience from glory to glory.
Yes.
Doesn't mean where you're coming from is something that is bad, or you need to discard it or leave it. It means that He's using you in another area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, and I told Josh Vietti this, I would love to help on a Wednesday night with Josh's thinking, how he thinks with videos and having people come up on stage through interview style.
He did was amazing. Like the ideas, and he's going to be directing everything we do. So
Yes,
those creative ideas are going to be coming. You're going to be giving creative ideas, and then I love the grounding of having you and Pastor Hector. Like, I know you're slowly trying to pass the torch, but we need your guys' grounding. We need your wisdom to help us. I used to be the young guy who was like, "Give me it. We're ready." As you grow older and more wise, you learn how not ready you are, and you need these men around you to help guide you through everything we're about to walk into.
So as our church, if you're out there watching, so maybe you're new to our show or our church, this is something, as you heard Pastor Ron and Pastor Josh say, that we're trying it. And I think it's very important to always remember, as Rick Warren had said in the past, Pastor Ron quoted him, that our church is going to try many things.
Yes.
Sometimes they're for a season, and then you move to the next. Sometimes you do them, and they're and it may not work, and it doesn't mean that it's not a bad idea, but you just don't feel God maybe moving. Some churches are anointed for some type of ministry, and other ones aren't. So, like Rick Warren, Pastor Ron was quoting him and saying that our church is going to try a lot of things. Not all of them are going to work.
It's the basketball mindset. You miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot.
Take.
You got to shoot some shots out there, and I love that we have vision going forward.
Yes.
That came. Praise the Lord. Pastor Ron and Josh and the whole team got together, and they have vision. So that's where we're going.
And it's fresh.
Yes.
It's fresh. So we're going to start going into a segment, and we're going to, I think, go with what our audience had spoke to them last year. And his name is E.J. Callahan, and he is an assisting vice president at CSUB, the university. And we're going to start with the clip that he was on our lunch break show, and we're just going to jump into it.
Check it out.
Being the USDA rep. And so basically I had to be at all the meals, 7 in the morning, counting milk and fruit because we got a USDA grant and we needed that for the program. But nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to get up and be at every meal for the whole summer, 7 a.m., 12, 5. And so that's kind of what I did. And they said, oh, we give him a little bit more responsibility. He's handling that. And so I just got increasingly responsibility from doing that. Yes, absolutely.
Isn't that a great story? I mean, philosophy of just doing something no one else wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody else wants to start at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You can't start at the top.
No.
You just,
That is the fakest news there is.
and so you have to put the time in. The fact that you found something no one else would do, and you started doing it, because everything needs to be done.
That's just my internet connection.
Everybody thinks somebody else is going to do it.
And that's every successful man we found in this show thus far has had to grind.
Yes.
There's not one spoon-fed story yet of everyone that we've interviewed. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. That's people we got to take. You got to work. If you work hard, you get there.
Yeah. And there again, as your story goes, you actually folded back in, right, with something that was a blessing to you.
Absolutely. And just real quick on the process piece that you talked about, my grandfather, that was his advice to me early on, was you have to crawl before you can walk. So I've always been taught that there's going to be a process. You're not just going to start. You're just not going to hit the ground running. You know, you always got to start somewhere, and so you have to crawl before you can walk. And so
that's great advice.
Yeah.
And so so in my career, in the EOP program, was there, worked my way up. For you said, from student assistant. My first full-time position was the EOP administrative assistant. And from there, I was assistant director of the program, and I had to make a leap of faith. You know, I had come to a point in my career where the director, very young, charismatic, well-loved by the university, and I didn't see him going anywhere. And so it was kind of like, whew.
A Y in the road?
Yes. It was like, what are you going to do? And so I took a lateral move on campus over to student activities and started working with student organizations, student leadership, and that found my niche there. And I tell it's a leap of faith because I was in a permanent position. I was married. I had children. And I took a temporary position. And right away, we got hit with budget cuts. And so it was like, wow. But it ended up being the right decision for me because as I sit here today as the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Student Center Enterprise at the university, it's because I made that move. And so just,
it wasn't easy, it wasn't comfortable.
No, not at all.
Especially when the budget cuts come.
Yeah,
that gets real, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was doing was a passion. I was that student, a first generation low income student, and so I was leaving home at the university that I knew to go venture off into something different. And so it has helped rounded my career also. I have a well-rounded career because I have different perspectives from the university. So I know what.
Isn't that amazing? So as EJ was on our show probably 7-8 months ago, a couple of things that he said that always.
Weeks, months?
Yeah.
Is it that
EJ?
long? Oh man.
Yeah.
Time is flying. 50th episode, you guys. I am lost.
So as EJ said it, he said basically you got to find something that other people are maybe wanting to do.
Yeah.
And that could be your opportunity.
That's your groove. Yes.
Yeah. He said it. He said he got to a point in his career where there was somebody in this lane already, and they were doing great. And that might be that you out there. It doesn't mean that this lane that you're in was a bad lane. But there was somebody doing it. It's like even Pastor Ron and our thing now. But he just moved over, which was a risk.
Yeah.
He said it was something no one was willing to do, so he did it. But then it made him go back to a vulnerable place where there's some budget cuts.
Yeah.
And he wasn't full-time staff. Yeah. But he said it worked out.
And what that's the
and then the cool thing is he was able to rise beyond where he would have
further
been.
than he thought he would
Yes.
ever go. And I love the point where he said, you don't start from the top. You never, ever start from the top. The grind is where it's at. The little side lanes, the side streets that God puts us on in order to get to that
Yes.
main road that he has for us. That's where we learn the most. That's where we grow the most.
Could that be the most important step
Yes.
to get us to that point where there is more room for growth? And I think that comes a lot of times just with even technology. I mean, when science changes, medicine changes. When technology changes, computers and cameras changes. So it's an opportunity to switch into something new that might take you on to something better.
Yes. Yes. And so many. Once again, 50 episodes in, we hear the side roads that our guests had to go through, and it's different. There's not a one that's the same, I would say, but there's so many similarities in the journey, and it's those rough times. It's the overcoming. We've even noticed as an audience, you guys have really stuck to the questions have came from when people overcome obstacles. What that tells me is that you guys are going through some obstacles out there, and you want to see how someone else overcame it so you can overcome. But you have to take in the advice of what they're throwing out there. You got to take a side road sometimes. You have to take a risk. You have to try to do something that maybe someone else wouldn't be willing to do in order to get to where you want to go. And I think that so many guests have gave advice like that, and I'm just grateful for the show. It's crazy. It helps me grow.
Me too. Well, that's what I love about you guys when some people will come up and go, "Hey, we caught the show the other day."
Yeah.
And they said that really helped when your guest or Justin or yourself said something that clicked. I just had a guy in Bible study the other day who's been watching the lunch break at 1 a.m. in the morning, Jordan. And he goes, sometimes I'll sit there and all of a sudden there's something that was said previously. And that's why I think the rewatches are important too.
Yes.
I really do. So I think we're going to go to this next clip. And this was David Boyd. David was the vice principal at Shafter High School. He was a very successful coach at Stockdale High School, and he said actually he gave David Carr his first shot. Remember that?
Oh,
when he said that, he goes, I gave him a shot as a JV quarterback. And so David's going to pop in and talk about a thing that was inside of him.
I'm kind of on the same line. It's not really an item. It's more of a thing, if you will, inside of me.
Okay.
And so for me, for me, it's really all my life I've been driven to make other people happy and worrying about whether or not I'm good enough and I'm accepted by those other people. So to be honest with you, almost every decision I've made throughout my life was driven by how can I be good enough? And worrying about, am I good enough?
So it's
And
people pleasing,
people-pleasing.
not for if not for an empty reason. It was people pleasing to validate you.
Yeah,
and make you feel like you
validation,
belong.
validation.
Wow.
You know, and I think that's, you know, your love language, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, one of my love languages, why I'm always trying to validate other people, is because on the outside I may seem like, you know, I'm confident and have it all together, but
that's the thing.
but I have no confidence, and a lot of it is, you know, I'm good at a lot of things, but to be honest, I've never been great at one thing, and I've always been around people that were great at other things, so I was never the best. Maybe I was the second best, you know what I mean? I was better than the rest of the pack, but I wasn't as good as the best of the pack. So I was always pushing myself, whether it was in school, whether it was in sports, whether it was in coaching, lifting, all the things that I've done. I always wanted to be a little bit better than I was. And I worried because I never was where I wanted to be.
And what do you mean you were never where you wanted to be?
Because it was never good enough.
Hey, so you're still like that now, you think?
Still like that now. I
So
think
what
that's...
you're saying is that you always feel like you're inferior.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know, in order to do that, for that to even be possible, to be in the equation, check it out, you have to compare. Did you know you can't feel that way without comparing?
Yeah,
It's not possible, right?
that's right.
So Dave, what have you done to help overcome that? Have you recognized it?
I've recognized it, but I think it goes back deeper and deeper. I was very fortunate to grow up in a Christian home.
I know you had a great family.
Yeah, great family.
I think we got a picture of the family too, don't we?
Oh, do we?
I don't know. I thought we maybe have a picture of the family.
And I was very fortunate. My parent, I was in church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, Thursday night choir, and I was raised in a Pentecostal church, but I learned to work out my salvation through fear and trembling, right? So I can remember every Sunday, I'm going forward to get saved. Because I had done something wrong during the week. And so my whole lifestyle was that, though. Hey, I didn't eat right this week. I did something wrong. I didn't lift enough this week. I didn't watch enough film as a coach, and so it was never enough until I discovered that hope in having this faith in a God who has grace, and a God who, not that there's not consequences for our actions. Obviously there's consequences for our action because he's a father that holds us responsible and accountable. But it's kind of like when you walk into a room and a guy pulls a gun and puts it in your back. You're going to do whatever he tells you to do as long as that gun is there.
Oh, yeah.
But as soon as he loses that gun, you're either going to run faster than the other guy or you're going to jump him, right? And so my faith was kind of based upon fear, which fear is a great motivator, but it's a short-term motivator. It doesn't last long.
That's what the research shows too.
And so learning to have that grace with God helps me have more grace with myself. If God accepts me for not being the best at it, then I can accept myself for not being the best at it. So that perfectionist kind of slows down a little bit. But it's also happened in my older age.
Great guest.
So wasn't a great guest. I mean, I what I love about watching this again, it spoke to me again.
Mm-hmm. Spoke to me in a different way too.
You can get into that trap of trying to please people. The Bible says that we're supposed to please God. It says we're supposed to do our work as we're doing it to the Lord, as we're working for men, but not losing that fact that I've got to, got to be a people pleaser. And that spoke to me again.
And how it trickles over to your spiritual life of not thinking you're enough to please God too, because you can't please people. You'll never please people.
How many times does our thoughts take us there?
Yes.
Or how many times does the devil remind us? I always tell people when the devil reminds us of our past, remind him of his future.
Yes, and I would say me and you are confident men. Like,
yes,
very. Like we are. We're very confident men. And for us to be able to say, we know we're weak and we're very weak at times. And God has had to remind us, you're good in my hands. Like you're secure in me. And that's where my confidence used to come from, my ability.
Yes.
Used to come from what I could do and how I could manipulate and things like that. And now it comes from I'm walking with Jesus. And there's nothing I don't have to prove anything to you because I'm enough for Jesus. And seeing him understand that. Another thing that stood out and watching that again, that's why I like Lunch Break.
I do.
I just watched that and learned so much. It just stood out to me that he said he was in church all the time. He's there Sunday night, Sunday morning as a family. And look how it comes around. Like, he's a great man. And, like, no matter what he had to go through to get there, that grounding of going to church at a young age. So, parents, that's for me. It's the parents, like, keep your kids in church. It's until they get older, it's your choice. You get to run that. They go to church. And then grandparents, if you have to snag, this is something that's cool I get to see in youth. If you have to snag your grandparents and take them to church with you because your son or daughter won't, do it. I have so many kids in our youth group that grandparents are kidnapping the kids and taking them to church.
You'll never know where that leads somebody. It's like I was thinking about David, that he was still kind of maybe in his mind and heart thinking he wasn't good enough, but he was still going to church.
Yes.
He was still going forward. He was still pushing forward. And I think that sometimes you can't examine your life or your success or your progress based on what it looks like in circumstances. Because you can't take a snapshot of a circumstance and say, well, that's just the way it's going to be. Because the Bible says with men things are impossible, with God all things are impossible.
Yes.
That's why I tell people, and if you're out there and you want to get excited about something, turn your life over to Christ. Give him the steering wheel, and then let some exciting things happen in your life. I love John Tweed, our pastor, John Tweed. In his office, he has a little whiteboard that he wrote on it. If the vision if the vision that you have for your life or your ministry doesn't somewhat concern you, that you can't reach it on your own,
Yeah.
maybe it's not from God. Maybe it should a little bit higher, because God wants to accomplish things in your life that you can't do on your own, that only you can do through God's power. So I love the fact that you're allowing other.
I want to share a quote that you shared with me, and you were talking to me, and I went and tweeted it immediately and gave you the credit. He said to me, "God's not going to do it until you're ready to step through it." It's a quote that I love. For one, it rhymes, so I appreciate rhyming all the time. But the fact that you have to God can do anything. All things are possible. But you have to be willing to let him lead. Let him.
Yes.
You have to be willing to jump and leap. You have to be willing to let God be that ruler of your life. And it just spoke to me when you told me that in just normal conversation. But it's just so important for our audience out there. If anyone's listening and haven't given God that real chance,
Yes.
give them the chance. Look at all these stories. All these people we brought on, for the most part, are believers, and they attest everything. No matter there's mentors, there's struggles, there's people who've helped, there's parents, grandparents, but in the end, ultimately, our lunch break guests will go back and tell you, the Lord guided them.
Yes.
The Lord is with them. And I don't want to put that. It won't be every lunch break guest, because I do hope we bring some people with different beliefs on here sometimes.
I will too.
And because everyone's journey matters, and I can see God in anyone's journey, right? Because He's there. He's in their journey.
That's what I love about our lunch break format. And there again, we have been filming our God Stories show with Pastor Ron and our commentators, and
Yes.
I'm co-hosting that with Pastor Ron, and so you're going to get a little different experience from that. We're also shooting some other shows that we're going to be bringing to you with Encourage Media Corporation, and just the idea of giving you guys things that you can share, or maybe you can go back and watch and be part of that. So there again, so should we talk about season 2?
Yes, I think it's important. I think it's important to get into a little bit. The part that I know is important is we're getting women on here.
Yes.
And there's just so many women of God and women who are influential in our community that we have everyday conversations with and run into at our events, and we have them as resources, and we haven't introduced them to you guys yet, and they are A1. They're the best you can get. So I can't wait. There's some names that are going to be huge, especially you ladies watching. I know you guys, you might feel like you've been missing out. We've been saving them for you. They're coming.
Yes. And you know what, there again, if you've got some ideas, we've got a couple of really cool guests that are coming on this year. I can't drop the names yet, but Justin and I talked about
wait.
it.
It's been one of the hardest secrets to keep for myself, but I'm doing good.
And so as we're out there, if you got some ideas, send them to us. Maybe you've got some ideas about some guests. We are trying things like you saw today with new technology. There again, Seth and Michael do a phenomenal job.
They saved the day today.
Yeah, and so we're going to try some new things that may not see work, but we'll the guys will always pull it off.
Yes.
So season 2 is going to be fun. I'm excited about it. We are going to be able to go over to Vegas and shoot some, and so we get some different guests over there. We might be able to bring some guests in through, the media, through the internet.
Yes. Yeah. So if you guys know anyone influential in our community who fits what we've been trying to do here and the resources and the people we're trying to introduce you guys to, message us. Let us know. We can reach out to them. We'll do the rest of the groundwork. But you got to let us know who's out there, because we're going from our source pool. There's a bigger pool out there.
Yes, there is. And there again, we're going to try some things that'll hopefully bring the audience in. Justin, I don't think we're either one of us worried about making ourselves silly, look silly, or anything like that.
I've done it too much already. I can't look worse.
You're a youth guy, right?
Yes, I've been pied in the face in the last month. I'm humbled completely, guys.
Yes. So we're going to have fun. Again, I want to thank Encourage Media Production for bringing our show, allowing us to be able to come through to your media device. Our executive director, Vince Sierra. There again, our executive producer here, Seth Parker, and our on-site producer, Mike Harvey. Our creative consultants, Taylor and Tessa Touchstone. And we are Lunch Break.
Yes.
We enjoyed being here today.
Stop by one of the VBF campuses on Halloween. The Fun Fest is going to be amazing.
Oh, amazing.
Pumpkin Patch, that's cool, man.
See you guys next week.
Yep.
Take care.
This was Lunch Break.